Yup, I have to agree with what you mentioned. Not to add to the fact that all three games that we've had here was just, all even before 15 or 13 minutes. That's how dominating each and every game that we've had here in Top Clans Grand Finals were. So Gamelab, they need to somewhat regroup once again, because this time they are to be on the losing end here. So they were the ones to use the Joy from before, and it seemed like for the for the Grand Finals or for the playoffs that we recently had, Joy hasn't had much of the winning percentage that I thought it would be, considering how agile and unstoppable it was in some of the gameplays that we've seen. So Gamelab needs to regroup and try to find other ways so that they would be able to win in this series. And in addition to that one as well, you also have Geekfam Indonesia having that momentum on their hands, as I say it, super momentum, right? So at some point you could consider them picking it up as soon as they can, but the Kaja is going to be held here by Dockman once again. And it will really be a problem because we saw what Dockman can do, specifically in game number 2. But for them to give up, the Valentina, both the Valentina and the 1-1 is kind of a major, concern for the side of Gamelab, because we are going to be taking a look as to how they can protect your PC once again, because that Leslie from game number 3, it wasn't really the best as to still having that late game scaling as well.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, at this point, we see a lot of we see some. Okay, hold on. I was actually going to expect Takanaga to take the aim on here, but I was going to say we do see a lot of the similar heroes popping up so far. From day 4 up to this point now, or even day 3 actually, as the kind of meta set in here. But a big hero choice that has worked for one team, specifically Geekfam, was that Amon pick in the hands of Janacutie. So the fact that, Gamelab wanted to take that, again, this is a kind of reminiscent of game 2 where he took the Ling, Takanaga took the Ling to try to be like, hey, this is how you do. And now he's going to do it with Amon. But still, we got to say, Janacutie, probably the best Amon player so far. We'll see. I'm sure he knows how to stop it as well. So there's got to be some tools here in Geekfam's mind that they can throw, or a wrench that they can throw at that Amon pick, knowing how they're going to play around it too, because also having the Kaja plus that Eve pick is already putting Gamelab in a good, comfortable position here. Now, always the saving grace is that Valentina is pretty much open constantly, right? So they do secure themselves that, and then they can kind of play around that idea.
And there's also a lot of bans prioritized on both that gold lane and the jungle position, because we are taking a look, especially for the side of Geekfam Indonesia, right? They banned out the Fanny together with that Benedetta, meanwhile also taking out that Leslie and the Beatrix. So at this point, Gamelab is slowly running out of options. Meanwhile, it seems that Gamelab doesn't really care about the jungle position as of the moment. They kind of want to force it and leave it with, Janacutie immediately picking up that Leomord for himself. Gamelab tries to focus on Baloyski's heroes. They don't want to give any kind of hero that could potentially have that huge crowd control that would last for a few seconds to Baloyski, because they know how he could perform really well with those kinds of heroes. So there might be an instance here that Baloyski would be picking up that Matilda once again, or go for the other way around technically, because you still have that one by your side, and Gamelab picking up that Lapu Lapu and the Claude as well, just to have recent engage coming in from the Bravest Fighter, and to also have that late game insurance that could skin pretty well in the mid stages, because that is what they're missing from a while ago. They can't really dish out a lot of damage in the mid game because of having that Leslie and not much damage in return. So good composition from both of the squads, but it seems like Geekfam has the momentum at this point, given the recent victory from before. It's now going to be up to Gamelab to find it back once again, find their groove to get the victory this time.
I think they'll be able to find the groove here again. If you look back at pretty much all the games so far that we've had in this series, they've been about 12 minutes, right? So either way, I think the way that Womi put it was, 5-6 minute mark. If everything is kind of like, if no team gets that early first blood, or anything like that. Around the 5-6 minute mark is really when you see these two teams go at it and shine, and then kind of snowball from there. So maybe this one will be different, where we have a 20-minute plus game. We're about to find out, though, as we head into Game 4.
That is going to be the case here, as Gamelab still in the lead 2-1, but geekfam Indonesia looking forward to equalize. It's going to be Beloyski using this Grok this time around. It has the same mechanic as the Hilda because of the durability and the tankiness that it poses, right? So at some point, there's the certain struggle of, you know, Takanaga being covered with that Guardian's barrier, and he was also forced to use that retribution, which could be very vital to him, as Beloyski also taking a little bit of damage. So they both got what they wanted. They tried to push Beloyski into at least 20% of his health, while also having Takanaga to force out this retribution. So it is not looking likely that Gamelab will contest for that little wonder.
Yeah, and this is kind of what we expect, right? The poke back and forth, a little bit of attempts to try to disrupt those early jungle paths from both junglers if they can, but still going to be the focus here with Takanaga. Luke was taking quite a bit of damage himself, but the rest of the team, I mean, back and forth they go. Big Guardian's Barrier going to come out. Dokman should be fine as he tries to get to his turret. Has to flicker out, though, as Janacutie able to get that level 4 just in time. All the back and forth before that next turtle comes up. It looks like, or that first turtle, it looks like I was going to say they might focus on the bottom side there, but they're not. Meanwhile, cross map, Luke could be in trouble here. Takanaga, though, the backup, a boy. Look at that poke already from a boy. So they got to reset, because turtle now spawning here just into the game. And it looks like Takanaga doesn't need to. He's just going to go ahead and regen some of the health back. And they might give this one a go and wait for see which jungler outperforms the other, as the turtle focused on Takanaga, juggling it back and forth. Beloyski trying to get some vision here if he can. Janacutie, though, holding on. That ultimate just came available as he goes in. Havas, though, the knockup is there. Turtle secured and a kill. It's Takanaga that does fall here. Prazer's Wrath going to miss, but they're going to be happy with that pickup. Both junglers down as everything still unleashes. Luke gets the knockup. Havas on the hunt for the kill. Can't get it in time, though. Has to back off for now. Very close, though. But it's going to be the 1-for-1 for both teams. Oh, make it another good, right? At the bottom.
That was pretty good. An extended team fight here for both of the teams, but just because of Gamelab taking that one, I mean, geekfam Indonesia has managed to secure their very own turtle onto the top side, courtesy of that retribution coming in from Janacutie, but wonderful prioritization coming in from Havos, knowing that Janacutie doesn't have that Phantom Steed yet, so he used that Bravest Fighter onto the backside just so they would be able to stop, you know, Janacutie from unleashing havoc once again, courtesy of that 0-1-0 in this KDA. Again, geekfam Indonesia has Luke and Beloyski onto the backside, no longer trying to pursue those kinds of attacks, instead defending the other members from being taken out once again. So that is going to be the response of geekfam Indonesia by taking out another kill of their own, courtesy of Takanaga. So junglers, both the junglers, not really having the best time as of the moment, but again, it is going to be depending on that support crew that we are taking a look here, because Dokman so far has been phenomenal with those utilities that he had, because there was one time in this game where he just missed out, or he just was missing that Divine Judgment because he was still on level 2 and level 3, but now that he is actually ready to pull someone out of there, it's going to be a possible way for them as the Phantom Seed commences.
Yeah, into the mid lane they go, forcing out that Bravest Fighter from Havas. They use the Retry as well. Beloyski quite low. They get trapped into the real world manipulation from Aoizawa. Looking for another kill. It's going to be 2 down for Geek Fam as a boy runs to the safety of the turret. And now the turtle up here. Check out Luke, though, coming down from the back. Gonna force them back here as well. Takanaga quite low. He's gonna regen as much as he can. Luke still fighting with Aoizawa, looking for something. That's the flicker from the Appraiser's Wrath. And this should be a turtle secured here by Gamelab as they go back and forth, but they start to build a little bit of a lead here.
That was again good focus coming from the side of Gamelab. They knew that Janacutie was still there. The Phantom Steed was already utilized here by that jungler. So It was Dogman also using that flicker skill to pull him out and back into enemy territory, and that is where they managed to land a kill not only to Janakviti but also to Beloyski out of that moment. So there is that significant advantage that Gamelab has been continuously exposing for the side of GeekFam Indonesia. Meanwhile, GeekFam here, there is no longer any form of energy fields that both Kadera and Yuktizi could potentially get from those turrets. So we are gonna probably see them looking forward into joining the clashes sooner or later, as the pressure is now going to be felt by the side of Gamelab here onto the bot side, because Kadera has that one death already, and Yuktizi having that Avarice as an emblem is really a huge help, because we haven't really seen so many ganks onto the bot side. So with that extra gold, it's going to give quite a bit of an edge here to the Claude, especially come in the mid stages.
Yeah, right now Janakuti's got to get back into this game the best he can. There's a lot of focus on the bottom side, though. Bottom lane killing spree for Takanaga, clutching it out. Real world manipulation going to come down. Beloyski had to get out of there, and he gets trapped as Takanaga gets stuck in a bad place. Taken down as well. LeBoy quite low, able to escape that void and gets out to live another day, but it was Kadera that fell, and Takanaga going to be the 1-for-1. Still, though, they evened out the gold. There was a minor lead for Gamelab before that fight broke out. GeekFam able to at least get even with Gamelab before that next turtle fight breaks out.
You have to commend Aizawa from that real-world manipulation time and time again. It is what is keeping GeekFam Indonesia, tied from the ground, just because there is so much slows and damage that you have to worry about, even with the small space being given that one as a pull once again.
Man, Beloyski getting dragged through the wall. Wild charges in. Aoizawa, though, that's going to be a cancel from a boy. Aoizawa canceling that real-world manipulation as well early on. Luke going on the focus, finding Takanaga. There was nowhere for him to go. And now it's a boy running from Havas. Luke, just an absolute tank here. Knocks up, gets the taunt off. A boy there to back him up. Janakuti going to be working on the turtle. Here comes Kadera, looking for a kill himself. It's Luke that grabs it. GeekFam taking charge here. It's going to be a turtle as well for them as they secure a couple kills plus an objective. This could be the turnaround moment GeekFam was looking for.
Great sidestep coming in from Luke to try and get Takanaga down, and he was actually successful in taking that one as well. Not to mention, it was also that knockup coming in from Luke that stopped technically the flicker to get away for the side of Havost here, but Havost just didn't have enough health to still sustain himself and get out of there. So it's now GeekFam Indonesia, after securing that turtle, was also able to secure that top side, and they simply look forward to wanting more. Beloyski with that from still play, as it will be able to make them disengage in this matchup. GeekFam Indonesia simply in control here. Gamelab needs to find something else, because what I can see is that, it's Luke trying to stop Havos from just joining a lot of team fights by cutting those minion waves onto the bot side and from the top side, and they are now going to proceed into the team fight just because of the lack of numbers that they have. And just take a look at this, right? Luke using those taunts, giving Havos a decent amount of damage, and then when the fight is about to brew here, just like that,
another Divine Judgment on Beloyski. The wild charge flicker, though, punishing Takanaga. Havas able to clean up the kill, but he's going to go down as well. Crossbow of Tank coming out. The resets there. Aoizawa doesn't fall. Kadera still looking to take out Dokman. He can't run any further. Flickers out, though. Wind of Nature going to be popped here. Aoizawa trying to get the kill with the real-world manipulation. Not able to grab it. Luke also fell here. Quite a messy exchange, but so far so good. GeekFam still putting the pressure on Gamelab in the mid as they grab that tier 1.
It was Beloyski, right? The start of that fight, he was really trying to figure out how he can engage, and that was the perfect timing for him, using that wild charge onto that river brush that kind of got 2 to 3 heroes for the side of Gamelab. Not to mention Luke also tanking the rest of the damage down, so that he was the one who was actually taken out for the side of GeekFam ID. Look at Beloyski here again, dishing out information. Havos trying to fight Janakuti, and it seems like the fight is about to begin again. This is Blazing Duet. Unfortunately, he was copied by a boy.
Yeah, Yeah, Lord, less than half health here. About a fourth. Who's going to grab it? It's Takanaga, able to get the retribution off, but it's Jana Cutie finding a kill. Havas running. Awazawa trying to cut them off. Gamelab taking the disciplined approach. They lost Dokman in the process, but they got the Lord.
Well, that was very unfortunate coming in from Aboy, because Aboy was looking forward to copy that railroad manipulation once again, but he took the Blazing Duet instead, so he utilized it to at least try and slow the cooldown, but unfortunately for him, there was not enough time because Baloyski was already down, and this is now a significant advantage for Gamelab to hopefully equalize the situation here, given that they still are lacking 1k in terms of gold. All minion waves, especially onto the top side, they're pushing in, but it seems like the Lord won't last for long. Divine Judgment again.
Baloyski gonna get pulled again. This is like the third time. Jana Cutie trying to end that, finds Awizawa, able to grab a kill out of a bad situation, and still going. Luke gonna zone them out the best he can. The Lord has been handled by Kadera, and it's Geek Fam to punish Gamelab here, as again a pull happens on Baloyski. You got to ask yourself, is that the best target? Because that's 3 times now where it's turned the tides for Geek Fam.
Again, they're slowly having that kind of itemization that would be potentially easy, especially for the side of geekfam Indonesia at this point, because they only need to worry about both Takanaga and Aizawa. Magic defense is the key for them in terms of itemizations, because as much as you like to see Yokizi, he hasn't really joined a lot of fights because of the pressure that both Kadera and Luke has been giving him. So Avast here is going to be forced to use that bravest fighter to again get out of that situation, but it is an unstoppable moment for them, as they will be able to take down another turret into the bot side, as now Gamelab needs to, you know, kind of put Yokizi in a very good position to join the fight and just unleash the Blazing Duet, because we haven't seen that as much yet, because once the Blazing Duet is committed, it was Baloyski usually stopping that with the wild charges as well. So Gamelab needs to find that one and hopefully win the team fight, because geekfam Indonesia, I mean, Gamelab's still not out of the woods yet, and this is only a 2k gold lead, as Gamelab try to get into position to be able to have that Lord onto themselves. As geekfam pretty confident that wherever they position themselves, they'll be the ones to take it as well.
Conceal play gonna come out here. Not gonna convert into anything just yet. Yokizi gonna use that Blazing Duet, but look at the return damage coming out from a boy with that copy of the real world manipulation. That's a bad place to be, as they get caught out just 10 seconds before the Lord comes up here. And again, Gamelab making another mistake. Geekfam in prime position. Can Gamelab actually contest this? They might look for a pick if they can find one with Dokman's Divine Judgment. It's definitely going to be a tough one here. Lord going to be started up. Havas trying to be that front for the team here, but it's Luke as well. Gonna be facing off, gets the knock up, looking for the taunt, but on the backside, Takanaga getting deleted out of the map here, and that's gonna be the Lord just going in the hands of Geek Fam. That is the downside of having that Amon pick. He's not gonna be quite tanky at all, and there you go, just like that, Geek Fam in control of this game even further.
Honestly, not the most ideal in terms of team fights here for the side of Gamelab. They knew that Yokizi was out of the team fight, and also that was kind of questionable. Specifically, the fight that you see on your screens right now prior to this one was that fight in close to that purple objective, wherein, you know, Gamelab without information goes ahead for the Blazing Duet, hopeful that they would be able to take one out, and Valentina, a boy, just unleashing that real world manipulation immediately, and that kind of took the marksman out. So now Geekfam ID has a decent amount of damage, a decent amount of gold lead, and they would want to extend this even further to equalize in terms of the series, now that Baloyski was about to get and will be able to get that immortality. So now it's Gamelab up for the defense. This is now a Luminous Lord, the first one that we've seen all series long. Let's see how Gamelab will defend.
There's the charge into the turret, double real world manipulation going to come down here. But so far, it should just be the bottom turret that is taken out by Geek Fam. They might set their eyes on another here. Baloyski, look at the burst. It is there. It looks like they got the immortality out, so Takanaga does have quite a bit of damage. At least getting the immortality, but still just a small victory here for Gamelab. Geek fam gonna go back to base, get what they can. Big problem here too that you're seeing constantly is who does Dokman grab? He's having a really difficult time finding the right target, and usually it's Boloyski because he's already taken a lot of damage, and then they just automatically pull him. The problem with that is what's constantly happened is they pull to the team, and then Boloyski just wild charges into the closest wall if he can, so that is a constant issue. Dokman's really got to be careful on who he decides to focus on, but you know the burst is here from Takanaga. Boloyski doesn't have the immortality now. They could look for some type of burst. Best target, though, would be a boy or Kadera, as this orange buff is going to be taken here for Geek Fan.
They're slowly losing grasp over every single objective that they have at this point now. So Gamelab needs to find something here because Boloyski seems to be the only person or the only player that they consistently see every time they try to push forward into the bush here. Dokman has been really fatal and has been really crucial towards every single pickoff that he manages to do here. Not to mention Gamelab also having Yuktisi pretty safe here with a 1-1-3 as you're standing. And with less than 15 seconds of geekfam Indonesia positioning themselves to take down that Lord, Gamelab could probably contest this once again, given that there is already a significant amount of damage and itemizations. Look at the corrosion site now. Corrosion site locked up here by Yuktisi, so it will give out an extra basic attack damage here for the side of the Gamelab Gold Jungler, and it will be very crucial, especially now that Luke showed himself.
Oh, Luke gonna get bursted down. Takanaga able to find a kill. They're still going at it though. It's gonna be Havas trying to do his best with the crossbow of Tang. Winter Truncheon coming out from Takanaga, but Janna Cutie gonna run him down. Dokman gonna be the next target. Immortality popped here. It's gonna be a 3-for-1 trade. Aoizawa trying to do his best to stop them, but this might just be a green light here for Geek Fam for another Lord take. Yuktisi gonna take that purple buff. Look at Aoizawa waiting patiently in that bush, but just decides that it's better to head back to base.
Luke putting all the attention on him. It was technically the spotlight where Gamelab was giving out its round of applauses, all with the damage available for them. And that is very much unfortunate because, again, Yuktisi was unable to use that Blazing Duet to give an immense amount of damage to at least 3 to 4 heroes. Instead, only having Janna Cutie removed in that one. And he wasn't even removed as much because he was still able to stay alive in that situation. And Gamelab is, Gamelab is in a little bit of a situation right now as to how they could possibly defend this inhibitor bases or inhibitor turrets that are remaining towards them. Meanwhile, GeekFam Indonesia has all the time in the world, especially with Boloyski 0-4 and 11 right now. Recently, just buying that Athena shield for extra magic defense for both Aizawa and Takanaga that we've seen some damage in the early game, but now concealed play again.
Concealed play came out. A boy does have the Divine Judgment available as well. We'll see how they approach this fight. Takanaga looking to the backside if he can find it. Lord getting confused. Still going to be working down Yuktisi. Half health here. Got to be careful on the initiation. The wild charge from Beloy. Lord still up. Going to be working on the crystal, but the backside of Voss able to put some pressure. Still got to take out the Lord. It finally falls here. Janna Cutie as well. It's going to be a retreat for Geek Fam. Successful defense so far from Gamelab. They might still be looking for an opportunity. Dokman has the Flicker and Divine Judgment available. They got to be careful. Geek Fam knows it. As they back off, they give the recall. But so far, so good. Gamelab able to defend there.
Good preservation of skill coming in from Dokman. He knew that it was unnecessary to use that Flicker and Divine Judgment onto that one just because Gamelab was able to defend this one as well. So GeekFam Indonesia, they now have to respect the burst amount of damage that Yuktisi is slowly about to give. That is what happens when you place the Blazing Duet at a perfect and prime position, with Aizawa unleashing that real-world manipulation as well, not to only slow them down, but to also give it out. But unfortunately for them, these are the kinds of pick-offs that Gamelab couldn't allow to happen. As the concealed play, they want to finish this off for good, but it will amount to nothing. They were able to get out of their BMI, but, a boy manages to land the real world.
The loss did get taken out there. Aoizawa gonna get chunked really low. They lose that mid turret. There's the drag with the Divine Judgment. Immortality popped here. A boy gonna flicker around. It's a small victory for Gamelab. Geek fam though, they gotta be careful. They're on the chase here. Luke gonna cause them to fall back a little bit. Do they press the issue? Havas still not up. They're gonna go in this 4 versus 5. It's a bad situation to be in. Beloyski quite low too. Luke though gonna follow here. Next, a boy with that real world manipulation copy. Dokman gonna take quite a few hits. It's Takanaga that able to get the kill. Winter Truncheon pop. Havas now up to join the party. Yuki coming in clutch. Able to get the double here for Takanaga. All before as the Lord has spawned. It's Jana Cutie left alone for the team of Geek Fam. Gamelab coming out huge in that team fight.
Nice, Gamelab, that is what you call playing the long game, waiting for the right time to strike. They were consistently poking the rest of the members of Geek Fam Indonesia up until it reached the point that all of the ultimates were used, immortalities were popped off, and Janakiti the only one remaining.
Divine Judgment, he gets a kill before going down himself, losing the Winter Truncheon, looking for another kill, can't grab it. He falls as well, but Geek Fam, the rest of the team is up. This should be a Lord going in the hands of Gamelab. It was worked on the whole time by Takanaga, able to secure it himself. This could be the light that Gamelab needed here to turn things around even further. But Geek Fam still in this game. Everybody should be up for this next big fight as the Lord is going to spawn shortly.
The window of opportunity is for Gamelab to go through. They now have the Lord on their side, and without Janagiti for at least 25 seconds, they are going to be trying to rush this as much as they can. Look at the positioning coming in from Yuktizi. He can potentially go for that side lane push, but instead, they would want to go here. They have a decent amount of damage, and together with that Divine Judgment mixed up with the Bravest Fighter, they have enough stuns to go forward with those team fights that they want to go for. But now that the Lord is in the middle, how can they finish this off?
They're gonna have to work on that Lord. They're gonna lose another turret here, possibly on the bottom side. They're gonna be working on it for now. Geek Fam has to defend their lives out. The pressure coming in from Gamelab. Beloyski goes in with the wild charge. Luke taking a ton of hits. Immortality gonna be popped here. Gamelab looking for the follow-up. They can't get it. Kadera now fighting off the minions as the bottom and top both push in. Geek Fam still in it for now, but base is going to be fully exposed. Takanaga still working on the top side. Team still keeping Geek Fam here in the mid. It looks like Gamelab is hungry, but they ran out of chances. They've got no minion waves here. They got to be careful how they approach this. Geek Fam still trying to defend. Yuktizi walking that mid push in. All lanes pushing in here. They're going to lose a top turret. Now Gamelab could possibly look for the game-ending push here. Beloyski quite low, but it's Takanaga that falls. Luke still gets the knockup, can't get the taunt. Flickers in though. They're on the run. Gamelab running for their lives. A boy quite low has to get back to base here. Winter Truncheon from Aoizawa. Immortality popped here. He's gonna go down. It's a 2 down for Gamelab. Geek Fam still strong as their base is exposed though. And this is again a game we've been waiting for in the series. Game number 4. And Lord coming up in 30 seconds. We'll see what Geek Fam decides to do. Havas running for his life. Might get crashed down here. Wild charge from Beloyski comes in to follow. Havas gonna be trapped even with the bravest fighter, still trying to hold it on, hold together. But Geek Fam might be looking to end the game here. Wind of Nature gonna come out. Dokman doing his best. The minion waves came through, but Havas fell in the jungle. They still hold on for now. Gamelab though, it looks like Geek Fam just gonna go focus on the Lord here.
As long as Yuktizi is alive, that is what Gamelab is talking about, right? As long as Yuktizi is alive, we can defend. We still have one more inhibitor there, but Beloyski though catches one more, and he might go pop off the immortality.
They get the immortality out. The Divine Judgment was used again, but it was a mistake. A Praiser's Wrath comes down from Luke. Yuktizi still chasing for Beloyski. Aoizawa gonna give the signal here. They gotta be careful. Lord secured now. And this time around, as the pendulum swings, Gamelab has to be on the defense.
For this meantime, I mean, Havost is still going to be able to present himself as soon as the Lord, shows into the middle side. They still have that inhibitor advantage, so the geekfam ID still needs to worry about that top side lane push because of the super minions that Gamelab could push through, given that the inhibitor is already down for the side of Gamelab. Meanwhile, geekfam Indonesia is just really making strides. That was great consecutive wild charges coming from Baloyski, not to mention the real-world manipulation that a boy consistently showed us, especially during that defense. Now Conceal Play is going to be here. They're looking for it, and the Guardian's Barrier available.
Oh, they're still down. Takanaga, the Lord at the Crystal. Not much they can do here. Gamelab going to go down one after another. Immortality and everything else. Geek Fam comes in, taking game 4, evening out the series 2-2.
Victory!
It was a push and pull.